the network for championing global citizenship education in Scotland. You know, I finished the video that I made last night by emphasizing that two of the main driving forces in Scottish academia today at present are global citizenship education and learning for sustainability. Now, these two concepts, they might just sound like fluffy words to some, but for anybody that's paid any attention, and I'm not preaching to the choir if you are one of those people, you know yourself that it's pretty damn malevolent, all the things that it entails. They're effectively brainwashing children into accepting all the Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goal principles, politicizing the youth, and global citizenship education in particular, or just the concept of global citizenship. That's even more evil, in all honesty. Really is. But this website here is one of many websites that you can find in Scotland that are designed with teams set up, and all these not-for-profit organizations, and they all seem to work in tandem to relentlessly promote multiple different resources monthly, if not annually and whatnot. So there'll be climate change related or climate justice related, social justice related. You'll have gender BS as usual, social justice. You'll have global citizenship education, anti-racism, diversity, you name it, it will be somewhere within one of their websites. And if you go on the Twitter, you'll see quite often that they, jump on, they bounce off one another, all these different organizations, but they're all totally not for profit and they're all totally independent, really. They have a tendency to punt out resources, which in turn teachers, if they so choose, can take these resources into their classrooms and promote it to their classrooms. Because obviously we live in a society nowadays, especially in Scotland, where instead of focusing on what we should be focusing on when we're a child in school, we now tend to put maths and English and whatnot to the side, or we can spend half a day talking about global issues. For example, it says here that they believe that young people gain important skills, values, and understanding through good global citizenship education. And they believe that a well-networked GCE sector can support teachers and policymakers to deliver the best possible GCE in our schools. And of course, we have to have that. These things have to exist because we need to have well-informed and active citizens. Of course we do. So, for example, they'll say, what is global citizenship? They see global citizenship as a way of living that recognizes our world as an increasingly complex web of connections and interdependencies. A world in which our choices and actions may have repercussions for people and communities locally, nationally, and internationally. Global citizenship in the curriculum. Global citizenship education is embedded with Scotland's Curriculum for Excellence as part of the Learning for Sustainability framework. This framework encompasses a wide range of interconnected themes and approaches across sustainable development education, outdoor learning, and global citizenship. It's almost as if a lot of these things seem to be quite intertwined. There is no planet B in the context of education for children. So it says here that global citizenship describes a sense of belonging to a larger global community, recognizing that every person is a citizen of the world and that we all have responsibilities to each other and to our planet. Says here as well that at its heart, global citizenship education aims to give everyone the knowledge, skills, and values they need to be responsible and active global citizens. Its purpose is to support all learners to participate fully in an interdependent and unpredictable world and play a key role in creating a more just, secure, and sustainable future. Okay? Education must not only be only a transmission of culture, but also a provider of alternative views of the world. Oh, isn't that sweet, Jerome? Cute and progressive. And just to conclude this website, good global citizenship education can equip people with the knowledge and skills needed to counter misinformation, the irony, promote and value diversity and diverse voices, strengthen connections between learning in the classroom and real-life context and experiences, develop better understanding of the historic injustices that have shaped our societies and challenges we face now, Build awareness, understanding, and critical engagement with local and global issues. Encourage creative and critical thinking and improve communication skills. Inspire hope and motivate people to take action. Again, it's sort of this emphasis on politicizing the youth, getting them all emboldened and empowered so they want to go out into the big bad world with their new and improved, enshrined in law, United Nations Children's Rights Charters, laws, rights even, where they now can feel compelled and empowered to go out and start screaming for change, political action, and they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously. Hmm. I can see where this is all going. Of course you can. It goes on a bit, but I just want to finish this bit off here, where it says, in Scotland, global citizenship education is embedded within the curriculum for excellence as part of the Learning for Sustainability framework. So emphasis on the fact that our curriculum has embedded this concept as well as learning for sustainability. Okay? So that takes us on to WASDEC, who are the ones responsible for, or somebody from WASDEC is responsible for the article that I was initially going to talk about. And it's their definition is just as fucking nonsensical, really. Global citizenship, they define it, is conflict, climate breakdown, systemic racism, increasing inequality. If we are to respond to the urgent issues we face today, we need to transform the systems which perpetuate harm and injustice. Global citizenship education empowers learners to understand these systems and to act for a peaceful, just, and sustainable future based on human rights, anti-racism, and global solidarity. Okay? Sort of painting a picture here as to what kids are being subjected to, provided that the teacher that they have that's supposed to be there to educate them is this way inclined, exploring climate justice. You know? Oh, they do have a lot of resources here on this website. That's practical resources to support active and participatory learning on global issues. Creating an LGBT inclusive curriculum, LGBTI rights activity packs. Yes. Tackling climate anxiety in the classroom. Fucking wow. Yeah. You know, you could spend all day getting bogged down in this stuff, but I digress. So, where are we now? I think that should take us to learning for sustainability right from the horse's mouth, though. The Scottish Government's actual website. Sorry. This is from 2023. Learning for Sustainability, a refreshed action plan. Now, bear in mind, emphasis on refreshed because, of course, they've had an action plan for some time. You know, this is already enshrined and intertwined with global citizenship and part of the curriculum for excellence. But they've just refreshed and updated their action plan. And it places sustainability at the centre of the Scottish education system. And this has been launched, including an ambitious commitment to ensure that every school and every or early learning setting, will be sustainable by 2023. Learning for Sustainability features 25 actions and follows 9 months of collaboration with children, young people, and their educators. Again, going back to a point that I made yesterday about the United Nations Children's Rights Charter, you know, politicized children. How could children really have any meaningful input when it came to discussing the adaptations to a refreshed Learning for Sustainability action plan? They have to be somewhat educated on the matter at hand, surely. So could it not then in turn be argued that they're already politicizing children in order for them to inevitably parrot exactly what the people had in mind when they introduced them to these talking points to begin with? Premeditation, grooming. Further actions in the report include developing new learning for sustainability related qualifications with program owners so that achievements in learning and learning for sustainability is fully recognized. A new commitment to take further steps to support outdoor learning. Creating a new portal which will act as a one-stop shop for learners and educators to share examples of learning for sustainability in action. Establishing a learning for sustainability mentor network for educators to encourage collaborative leadership. Right. Setting up a children and young people learning for sustainability leadership group to ensure meaningful collaboration with learners. Right. Okay. And then if we come down just to the actual action plan, right? And all you need to do is type in global citizenship, right? So it says here that the term learning for sustainability, coined in Scotland, is now gaining traction in other countries as a cross-curricular approach which enables learners, educators, learning settings in their wider community to build a socially just, sustainable, and equitable society as an effective whole-setting approach which weaves together global citizenship, sustainable development, and outdoor learning to create coherent, rewarding, and transformative learning experiences. Okay? I mean, some of these documents are fucking difficult to read through when you know what a lot of the nonsense that they're peddling, what it really means. For the public at large, I don't even think they know that these concepts are in our schools, let alone what they mean. Our drive to net zero, which takes a central role in Scotland's economic strategy, requires rapid and disruptive change to the ways in which we live our lives and to our behaviours and actions. Scotland's national strategy for economic transformation, green jobs in Scotland, and a response to the climate change and nature crisis will be strengthened significantly by the successful implementation of the Learning for Sustainability Action Plan. Right? Bear in mind, this is for schools. This is for children. Our biodiversity strategy identifies the need to systematically mainstream biodiversity to ensure it is understood and valued across the population and embedded in education curriculum. And Scotland's International Development Programme enhances the role of Scotland as a global citizen, with learning for sustainability being the connection into all of these themes, as that is the way that our curriculum connects to the wider world. It teaches future generations to value thoughtful and responsible behaviour, helping them to develop political literacy and equipping learners with the knowledge, skills, and confidence to detect bias, make informed choices about the complex world around them, and develop as global citizens. It's insanity. It's absolutely fucking insanity. So, this is obviously Education Scotland. They talk about it too, but I'm not going to get bogged down in that because I don't want the video to end up being far too long. But I love this. So, Learning for Sustainability has been developed and informed by work of the One Planet Schools Working Group and the Learning for Sustainability National Implementation Group, which culminated in a Vision 2030 report in 2016, which had 5 recommendations. And bam, 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 what does it say down there? Scottish ministers accepted all 5 of the above strategic objectives. Of fucking course they did. Of course they did. Yeah. Of course they did. So that brings me to the tweets that initially caught my attention, were ideas, as they called themselves. They are congratulating WASDEC and the individual from WASDEC who wrote this highly intellectual, thought-provoking little article here, try and justify why it's acceptable to brainwash our youth for the betterment of the planet, I suppose, outlining the key principles underpinning global citizenship and how it can help both teachers and students get to grips with the key interconnected global issues demanding attention and action. Just come up though a wee bit. And you look at this fucking waffle. Every one of these individuals' Twitter accounts is just as cancerous as the one prior. This is from the 4th of December, 2023. Is that your phone ringing? Is someone calling? Get ready to pick up and answer. It's time for learning for sustainability. Then they tag in Education Scotland and the Scottish Government and whatnot. Why? Because of the Learning for Sustainability Action Plan. Oh, yes. That's just what the doctor ordered. Of course. And then we've got colonialism, capitalism, and climate. Yeah. Fucking yes, mate. That's what we need in our schools. That is exactly what we need. You really could just get bogged down keeping an eye on some of these individuals, and it can make for some unpleasant reading at times. Anyway, that leads me to the article, and if I could find it, that would be a bit awkward if I've lost the article. There we go. How global citizenship links to the local and wider world. Global citizen expert Malum Bella and whatever Bella, right? She's an expert in all things global citizenship. And you're wondering to yourself, who is this wonderful Scottish, totally Scottish individual, the expert in all things global citizenship? Well, I will let you know. I wouldn't want you to be sat wondering and pondering on the what ifs. There she is, right there. And she's described as being a trailblazing scholar and marketing communications professional, and she dedicates her skills to positively impacting the world through the power of education and empowerment. Being part of WASDEG allows her to advocate for social justice, champion sustainable development, and build bridges that cultivate global understanding. Of course she does. So basically, she's one of the proverbial overpaid non-entities who could really be described as none other than activists with fancy little job titles who have carte blanche to influence change in our schools, politicize our youth, and promote their fucking cancer, all under the guise of global citizenship education. Of course, fucking state of some of these individuals, and of course Nazutu Tamani, the critical race theorist. Yeah, of course. She's getting on a bit in life now. She's doing quite well for herself. I haven't heard from her in a while, but she started off as just being a overweight critical race theorist, but she's she's doing quite well for herself now. She's the founder of Global Citizenship Education in Scotland, a resource promoting equality-based education and learning for sustainability. Further, Nazoot is the co-chair of the Scottish Government's Diversity in the Teaching Profession and Education Workforce, and she's a board member of the Anti-Racism Education Programme. Yes, she sits on our boards in our educational practices and settings to reform our curriculum so it embraces and adopts critical race theory. Yeah, I wish I was talking shit. Anyway, that brings me back to the article. So, the expert here, with her fancy name, global citizenship is a crucial concept in education that is essential to preparing children, for navigating our interconnected world. All these buzzwords that they continuously use, they're creating a narrative for children to accept from a very young age that the world's interconnected, we're all global citizens, and then they perpetuate narratives that there's all these crises afoot, whether it be mass migration, whether it be climate change, whether it be food scarcities and whatnot. Vast majority, if not all, of these crises that they will declare, if they've not already, could arguably be manufactured or at the very bare minimum over dramatized for effect. Why? Because then it justifies any actions that need to be taken, whether that be accepting mass migration, whether that be accepting that there's less food to go around, whether that be accepting overpopulation as a narrative, whatever the case may be, whether we accept that little green activists starting fires in the woods and whatnot. We have to accept that that's climate change is burning Earth to a cinder, right? Point is though, these narratives, right? These educational talking points are drummed into children from a very young age, right? Why? Because it's their right to a clean, healthy environment, right? And they need to have the skills, the attitudes and values they needed to address the challenges, as it says there, because these are global issues, right? So, as I said, we're putting maths, English, etc., to the side, and all we will be teaching children, for the most part, will be these political issues, right? But it's disguised very cleverly, you could say, until you see it for what it is. That is, it's disguised for all that as simply teaching children about the future, because it's it's up for grabs, more or less. Anyway, the expert here are the 5 key concepts of global citizenship, right? Global citizenship in schools. Global citizenship is a cross-cutting theme in education curricula, acknowledging the challenges of balancing subject-based organization and qualification pressures, but offers the potential to develop knowledge and understanding skills and values associated with global citizenship across various subjects. Bear in mind what I've already just gone over in relation to how these concepts are defined. Okay? The head, heart, and hands of global citizenship. The goal is a world with equitable power and resource distribution. Oh, okay, you see. They love doing this. They've been doing this for some time, you know, whether it's the BAMEs in America demanding reparations and equal power and whatnot, right? Or redistribution of wealth and power. Socialists at large will argue this cause as well. We're now starting to see it when it comes to climate reparations. And then when we solve the world's problems, you know, when we all stop emitting CO2, we need to have a rethink. We need to redistribute power. It needs to be equitable. Is this really about climate change, or is this actually about implementing political ideologies in the background? Yeah. And of course, they're going after our youth, and it's right in front of your fucking face. So their goal is a world with equitable power and resource distribution, right? That's their goal, but they wish to in turn promote this to children. By integrating global citizenship into the curriculum rather than having a separate subject, teachers use a holistic approach to encourage critical thinking, empathy, right? And you can't teach empathy. I'm fucking sick of this. What they're effectively doing is creating narratives that are predicated on underdogs and whatnot. So the blacks, you know, and the global south, if we're talking about climate change, right? And it's to create narratives that justify why we have to give power away and wealth away to poorer nations and accept mass migration because we're responsible for all the problems in the world that they claim exist. Yeah. And there's so much critical thought involved in that. Educators structure their approach to global citizenship around 3 core aspects: focusing on knowledge and understanding, which includes exploring themes such as social justice, identity, diversity, sustainable development, and more. All right. Developing the values and attitudes necessary for learners to stand in solidarity with those facing injustice. Oh my God. Again, they're trying to create little activists. That's what's happening here. But they dress it up as, you know, equipping learners with skills to affect real change. Yeah, that's what it's really about. Affect real change. How do they do that? Well, they get placards and demand political action. Right? Empowerment. Education practitioners play a pivotal role in embedding global citizenship into their teaching practice. 5 development education centres in Scotland, or the DECs, work as a collective to offer professional learning opportunities, online resources and publications, and, as I mentioned earlier on, that's like Highland, One World, WASDEC, etc. These resources help educators connect global citizenship to key educational agendas, such as Getting It Right for Every Child and the General Teaching Council for Scotland standards. Yes, that's right. The new and improved laws for schools to adhere to involve sustainable development education as well as global citizenship education. So now schools are forced to promote this shit whether they like it or not. Global citizenship education is crucial for preparing learners to address local and global issues that they claim exist and they have diagnosed, right? So not only are they going to pretend or fabricate or at the very bare minimum over-exaggerate issues that they claim exist, but they're also going to provide narratives to tell the children why these issues exist. And it's all predicated on their empathy and whatnot. It will empower, quote unquote, them to understand the root causes of problems. I rest my case, developing a sense of solidarity and gain the skills needed to make a real impact. Oh, yes, that is right. Most importantly, they provide practical methodologies that tackle the education challenge of empowering young people to believe they can improve their well-being and create a fairer, more sustainable world. And then they go on, to say that global citizenship encourages individuals to view local issues within the broader context of global challenges, emphasizing the importance of understanding the connections between one's own life and the lives of people worldwide. Global citizenship then highlights that local actions can have global consequences and encourages learners to engage in complex problem solving. Oh, yes. And to conclude, making the most of Scotland's global citizenship resources. In Scotland, global citizenship is spearheaded by the 5 DECs. They offer viable resources, professional learning opportunities, and support for teachers to incorporate global citizenship into their classrooms, unbeknownst to the parents, most likely. These resources include online career-long professional learning courses, global citizenship publications such as Stride, that's that fucking magazine, online modules and curated databases and the signposts for global citizenship platforms. Yes. Oh, wow. So progressive. It's fucking evil, cancerous nonsense, really. I mean, especially that section, if I could find it before I call this a day, where it made reference to it's a learning process, right? Yeah. It's a cross-cutting theme. I can't find it now. It's not important. Right, what we got here on the share this tab instead? Yeah. What makes me Scottish? I was on this website not that long ago. But let's see if I can find something very quickly on global citizenship, shall we? Sure, there'll be something, I would have thought, since they've got fucking everything else here. Refugees and migration, decolonizing the curriculum, gender equality, children's rights. Yeah, I'm not seeing global citizenship, though. What I could do is probably just end the video because it's going on a bit long now. Yeah. Peace.